Hello guys, welcome to Code Enzyme, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can make this task diary app. So if I write here anything like recording YouTube video, and when I press submit, a new record will be added at this time frame, that is 4:27 p.m. that is the current time. And if I type here anything, and when I press this red trash can button, it will delete it from here. I have made this using the ReactJS and Firebase database, and I've used Bootstrap to make this layout, so we don't have to write much of the CSS. It is a very beginner level project, and I've also deployed it on Netlify, so you don't need any backend server, you can just deploy it on Netlify. I will also show you how you can deploy by the end of this video. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. So open a new terminal at your desktop and now type npx create react app and the name of your app, that is task diary. It should be small t there. So okay, now npx will download all the React modules for our app. Now while it is downloading, let's set up our Firebase. So go to firebase.google.com, and now you will need to sign in here, but and once you sign in, you can click on get started. As you can see, I already have a task diary project ready. So let's make a new project and I will call it task diary. Click continue, and I don't want Google Analytics, so I will turn that off. Now click create project. Now let's wait for this to happen, to complete. Okay, now let's click continue. Now we will only be using the Firebase Firestore database, so click on build and Firestore database. Let's click create database, and we will use this in production mode only. Now click on next. Now you need to choose this very carefully. I am in India currently, so I will choose Mumbai. Now if you choose whichever location is closest to you, okay, and click enable. Okay, once this is done, we will make a new collection and I will call it tasks, tasks, and click next. Click auto ID. This will generate an automatically ID, and click next. Okay, so we have a task collection and an empty document. Okay, now go to rules and we have to update something here. So you need to change this to true, otherwise you will not be able to update the database. Now click publish. Okay, once this is done, I will click on this settings icon and go to project settings. Now scroll down and click on this web icon, and you can name your app anything. I will just write here task diary and register app. Now once this is done, it will give us an SDK. Copy this npm install Firebase as it is written here. Okay, now I can open this folder in my VS Code. You can use any other coding ID if you want, however I prefer VS Code. Okay, so I will just right click and open my folder in VS Code. Okay, now open your terminal using the command J, and inside this terminal you can just paste that npm install Firebase and click enter. This will download the Firebase module for us, in case for those who are just starting with the React and npm. Okay, now copy this whole thing And let's make a new folder in the src. Let's make a new file in the src, and I will call it firebase config.js and paste everything here. Let me just get rid of these comments. Okay, now and I'm going to import get firestore from firebase firestore to make a database, to use the database. So let's do export const db equal to get firestore app. Here db is the database object, so using this we will be able to access our database. Okay, so that is all the changes that we will do in this file. Close it. Okay, now so firestore setup is completely done, and now I think let's just do the layout of the website first, because it is I think the longest part of it will make the longest part of the video. Okay, so let me do npm start, so we will be able to see what changes we are making in this app. Okay, so it is currently blank. And if I type hello here, it is working completely fine. Okay, so to make this we are going to use Bootstrap for the layout, because it will help us create it without writing much of the css. So let's just import Bootstrap. So Google Bootstrap, go to this first link and click on docs and click on download, and go to the CDN via JS delivery and copy this. Go to public index.html, and just below where the head ends we can just paste it here. So now we have Bootstrap. Now we will need the font awesome for the trash icon. So just go to your font awesome, and I think most of you will be familiar with it. If you are not, you can just search on YouTube. There are several tutorials out there. Otherwise it will make this video very long. Okay, make your kit, and once you have your kit you can just copy your kit code and paste it in the index.html in the public folder just below it. Okay, so once this is done, you have the Bootstrap and the font awesome are imported, and now we can start with the coding. Okay, so let's just delete this hello from here. Now let's try to make this navbar using Bootstrap. So okay, so first I'm going to give this a class name of navbar and navbar light, and it is going to be a light background, so bg light. Next, I don't know if you can see it, it is a very light tint there. And now next we will have a container fluid, and in that I'm going to make an anchor tag, and it is going to have a class name of navbar brand for that nice font, I guess. And in here I'm going to type task diary. Let's see how it looks, and I just don't like it when it has a yellow line here. You can leave href empty also. Okay, now let me zoom out a bit. Okay, now if we can compare it, it looks I think it looks decent now. Okay, now next I want to print a date here. Next we want to print this Monday 28 November 2022. So we want to get a date. Okay, so to get a date, you can, so to get this date, if I just Google how to get a month in JavaScript, we can and go to this first link, W3 School, and just copy this thing here and paste it. And I just wanted to get that array of months because it will take some time to type that out. Now next we can similarly search for the weekdays to get the weekday array, and just go to this first link and they have it nicely typed for us. Okay, just copy it and paste it here. So now to get so now if we want to get the make a string, then I have to create some variables, like let a variable equal to today equal to new date, and once I have today, let a month if we want a month equal to months, let me make that name change, months today dot get month. Now get month will simply return an index, and that index will correspond to a month of that array. Okay, next I am going to create another variable for date, which will be equal to today dot get date, and this is going to be a number, so I have to convert it into a string. So let me convert it string, and I'm going to pad it. So pad start 2, 0. So basically it means that if it is a 2-digit number, then I don't have to worry about it. If it is not, then I have to add some zeros at the start. For example, 1 will be converted to 01 and 4 will be converted to 04. Okay, next I have to get okay, let me add a comment here, getting the date. Next let's get the year. So y is equal to today dot get full year. Okay, now let's get the day. Let day is equal to today dot, okay, it will be a weekday index, so weekday dot get today dot get day, and that will give us the weekday. Let d is equal to the final day. So if I go back, I can see first is a day, then I have a space, then we have the date, next we have the month, and next we have the year. Okay, now let's print that this date object in our layout in a final website. So just below this we can start typing. So let's make a container object, container, and in this container let's have a today div, and in this I'm going to make a font weight bolder, I guess, and in here I will type the date. So as you can see, it looks nice now. Okay, it looks pretty much the same. Okay, now let's move, and next we need to have a unordered list of these tasks that are stored in our database. So just below the date we will need a container which will store the unordered list, so ul, and here I will and here let's make some use states also. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with use states, it is a React hook, and we can basically, these are the variables which can change anytime. Okay, so let's have 3 use states. One will be the task and use state. You can read about these use states if you don't know on the docs. It is just I really like the React documentation. It is very clear. Okay, so okay, so we have task. Now let's create some I will need three, I guess. Task, let's make one more tasks. So this will be an array of all the tasks that we have till now. Okay, oh, that was a typo. Okay, use state, and let's pass in an array here. Next, I also need a time variable which will keep changing. So make sure you import this use state to make this work. Next, I will need a time variable which will keep changing. So const time, comma set time. This will be a function to change the time. And as you can see, whenever I type, this keeps updating to the exact second from my clock. Okay, so it will let it be an empty string for now. Okay, now let's have some use effects, because we want the time to keep updating, right? Otherwise it will not update. So use effect, and it will take a function as the parameter, and let's set time. And in this I'm going to pass, since we want it to be in a 12-hour format, so I have to get the first, I have to get the hours that have passed. So today.get hours, and for the 12-hour format I will divide it by 12. Now I have the number of hours. Next I have to convert it to string and pad it, just so that I have all those so if we have 4 o'clock, right, then it will convert it to 04. If we have 1 o'clock, then it will be converted to 01, just like this here. Okay, similarly I will do for the next I will place a colon, and now let's also do the same for the today dot minutes and today dot seconds. Okay, so now that we have the time, let's also put this in. Now we need to put this somewhere in the our final website. So now we need to find the AM PM of the time, right? Because since it is a 12-hour format, so let's just do today.getHours, and if this is greater than 12 or equal to 12, then we will return PM, otherwise we will return AM. Okay, now let's just go put that here, plus, and let's leave a space and put that variable here. Okay, now that solves the time issue. Now let's try to put this time in the website there. So for that, after this I will place I will put all the tasks here. So as you can see, this is there is a list of tasks. So whatever these tasks will be there, it will contain some JSX object, and I will put all those tasks here. You can just write it here, you will understand as we will progress later. And now for the time, let's create a new list item, and so in this list item, first we have the time, and next we have a form. So let's create a row, then a column, extra large 2, Then let's have the time input, and in this let's have a font weight bold, font weight light, and an uppercase text. So, and in here I will put the time. Let's see how it looks. So it looks fine, I guess. Okay, now since we don't have any tasks here, so the other things are not showing, but okay, it kind of works. Okay, now just below this where this div ends, we will need to have a form, HTML form for the new task. Okay, so let's create another column, extra large, and let the size be 10. In this, let's have a task input, and let's create a form. Let's have a div form floating, and margin bottom will be 3. Let's have an input, and let's give this a class name of forming floating input, I guess. Floating, I can't recall it very clearly. I guess floating input. I will just check the docs once. Okay. Let the name be a task, and I need to turn off the autocomplete, not auto capitalize. It should be turn off the autocomplete, and this should be a required field because we don't want to submit empty form, right, to the database. Let the value be task right now, and let it be a required form input because we don't want to submit empty task to the database, right? It will not look good. Okay, I'm just checking the docs, and this should be actually this should be an ID, and the class name should be floating form control. Okay, let's create a label now. As you can see now, we can't change the value right now. Let's create a label, and we will put the same ID of the input, so floating input, and I will write task here. Okay, looks kind of good, but still we can't write anything into it. Let's write an on change method here, and if the value changes, we will update the task variable. So set task without an s, we are using this function e dot target dot value. So whatever is the value of in this input, text input, it will be stored in the task variable. It is a very common thing in React. In case you are new to it, kindly get used to it. Okay, now once we have this task input, we also need a submit button to submit this HTML form. So let's create a submit button, and I'm also going to use the Bootstrap button. So button, and with the class name btn primary, and let the text be submit. Okay, kind of works. Okay, so let's make the handle submit function first, because I think it is the most important function. and it will help us to add the data to the database. So it will be an async function. It will take e as the parameter. Let it be e. And the first thing I'm going to do is e dot prevent default. What this will do is it will prevent the page from refreshing whenever I click the submit button. I don't want my page to refresh every time I click the submit button. Then let's create a form object. So const form, and let the date be d and time be time, and let the task be task. And we can also write it as comma. When both the name and the key are same, we do not have to write them separately in JavaScript. Okay. Now whenever I submit, let's I don't want since the page is not refreshing, the text will always be still there, right, in the task variable. So I must make the task variable empty after I create the form object. And once this is done, I can just upload this form to the database. So for that, I'm going to use the await keyword. Let's just make a variable first. Const post collection ref. You can read the docs if you think if you don't understand from where I am getting this. Let's just import the collection from Firestore database, Firebase, Firestore, and I think I will import everything that we will need. So let's also import the doc and the delete doc, add doc, get docs. Okay, so now that we have everything imported, let's go down. Okay, now in this collection I will pass the database. I need to import the database also. So import database from the file that we made, the Firebase config file, the database that we exported here. This is what we are importing. Okay, so let's pass in the database here, and I will write the name of the collection, that is the tasks. If you remember, we created this here. And now I'm going to say await. This is an async function, so the JavaScript will wait for this line to finish executing before any other code. So add doc, post collection ref, and form will be added. Okay, now I will just and this once this is done, I will say console.log document added. Sorry for that noise if you are able to hear it. Okay, now whenever I click submit button, I should see a document. Why are there so many errors here? Okay, let me just refresh the page. I guess it was added. Okay, I remember we did not update the we are not actually using this function right now. So in the form, I'm going to say on submit. I'm going to use another method, on submit, and whenever this is submitted, I'm going to pass the handle submit function here. Okay, so now it should work. Whenever I click submit, okay, we can see a new document has been added. and in the database also we are saying okay, something has been added. Okay, so let me write something like making task diary app. Now if I submit it, it has been added, and we can see one more record has been added here. Now let's just delete that empty record that we have here. Or wait a second. So this works. Okay, let's make another function, and this time I'm going to make the handle remove function. Basically whenever we click this trash can here, it triggers the handle remove function, and that removes it from the database. Okay, so let's make it. Let's code it now. So I'm really sorry for this noise if you are able to hear it. It will also be an async function, and it will take id as the parameter. And let's get the doc first. So post doc db comma collection name, that is tasks, and the id. Now once we have the doc, we can easily delete it. So await delete doc, and post doc, and it will be deleted. So once this is deleted, I can console.log remove. So I hope you are enjoying this video till now. If you are able to bear with my voice, kindly just like this video to keep up my support. I will keep making this such kind of content. So now that we have handle remove function ready, let's just remove this that extra collection doc that has no data in it. Let's just delete the document. Let's make another function, get post. So that we that is the main function that will fetch all the records from the database, and it will also be an async function, no parameters. So let's just console.log reading, so I know that this function was invoked right now. Const data is equal to await get docs. Make sure that you have an s docs one, not get doc. So post collection ref, and now that we have the docs here, we need to add that list of docs in the set task in the tasks use state. So let me make a list here, and in this let me just use the map function. So data dot docs dot map, and this is data.docs will contain an array of those two docs. So let me just traverse in it. So map open brackets, and my iterator will be I, and an arrow function. So I'm going to push for every I, I'm going to push it in the list a JSX object, and it will be a list item. So list item, because this is going to replace this thing task here, right? So it has to be a list item here. Then let's make a container fluid. this, let's have a paragraph. Now I need the time to have a font weight of bold, and it is an inline block, so D inline block. Now I dot data dot time. I dot data will return the form that we submitted, and it's that time object. Let's write a colon here. Now let's write the task. So I dot data dot task. Okay, now in the next line, now we need that trash can symbol. So let's make an inline block with a margin left of 3. Let's have an icon with a class name font awesome solid, and a font awesome trash for that bin icon. And let's have an on click method for this. So on click, and whenever I click, it will invoke a function. So handle remove, and it will take id of the id as the parameter. Now that once we have all this, we need to update the set task. So set task, we will use the set tasks use state. So set tasks, let me open up brackets, and here I will write lists. Okay, now I think this should work now. Okay, I never called that get post function. Now we need to somehow call this function, so let's create another use effect. Now the thing is, the above use effect will be invoked every time a variable is changed. Now in here I will write get posts, and I will pass a parameter, an empty array. Now this will make sure that this function runs only once when the page is rendered, and it will not keep rendering. Okay, because if you see in the Firebase, there is a usage tab, and there is a quota for 50,000 requests per day. It won't get used up very soon, but if you put it in normal use state, it will keep making requests every millisecond or so, and it might get used up, right? So that is why I have to make a separate read request, and as you can see, we have this. Now if I press delete button, you can see in the console it is written removed, but it is not happening. So we need to add another line. Whenever we make a submission or a deletion, I have to call this get post method again. Okay, so get posts. Now I think it should work. Now whenever I add a task, so done task diary, and whenever I delete it, it will be removed from the database. And you can see it is pretty fast in the usage. Now if I go back, you can check in the database, it is added, and just when you click the delete button, it will be removed from here. Now as you can see, the tasks were not sorted, right? We need a function to sort these tasks. So I think this will be a very boring part of the video. You can Google how to sort array with using the properties of the values of the objects in them, or maybe I will just paste the paste this function. You can copy it from the code in the description, okay? Because it is very basic thing, and I think it will just waste our time, okay? So this is our function, and basically I will try to explain it a bit. If both the time contains AM, or when both the time contains PM, then we have to check suppose if one of them does not if they are both different, so AM one will be the shorter one, and the PM one will be the larger one, okay? That is what I am doing here in the if else if one. And if both of them contains AM, or if both of them contains PM, I need to make sure that 12 is lower than 1, right? So I have to check if both of them starts with 12, or if both of them don't start with 12, right? And that is how I can sort these. So once we have this function, let's create a variable. So const x is equal to data.docs, and I will now sort this. So x.sort compare. Once x is sorted, I can replace it from here. Now if you can now as you can see, it is these two are in sorted order. Now even if I enter something, it will come below, okay? Now I can delete it like that, okay? Now I need to style this a bit because I want those red icons, they look beautiful. So let's go to app.css and remove everything here. So first thing I'm going to do is I will update the row. Oh, I don't need this here. Okay, now I'm going to update the row class, I guess. So dot row, and let the display be flex, and align item center. Next, for the icon, I want the color to be red. Margin left, let's say 10 pixels, and cursor should be pointer. Okay, now it looks nice, right? So you can add items, you can just click on them and delete them. So that completes our app. Now as you can see, this is happening in real time. You can add it, it is added to the database. You can click on it and it will be removed from the database. Now let's see how you can deploy it on Netlify. So to do that, just go to netlify.com, click on the login button, and okay, open your terminal, press Ctrl J to stop the React one, and now type npm run build and press enter, and it will start building your static application. Now once this is done building, you can go to the Netlify, and this is the interface, and just click on add a new site, deploy manually, browse to upload, and choose your build folder and upload it. And just wait for it to upload, and once this is done, you will have a completely functional running website. Click on this green link, and as you can see, you are working task diary application. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, kindly like this video, subscribe to my channel. Make sure if you have any queries, you can ask them in the comments in below. I will reply to every single comment, okay, as much as I can, okay. And if you want me to keep making such content, kindly share it with your friends, and I hope you like it. Thank you.